let's talk about this Boston side of the final series. I already talked about Dallas and how they work, what the roster is, but let's talk now about how Boston is, how they work, and how they're looking for this final series. So, first, I want to say that the Celtics are in a very good spot to win this finals. If we're being honest, and I'm a guy who's rooting for the Mavericks, I said this last video, but the Celtics are predicted at a 65.7% chance, basically a 66% chance to win this final. In 2024, they've basically been the best team in the world in terms of record. In terms of roster, they're probably the best roster in terms of construction. And the only thing that I will say that hurts them is the fact that some of their players are injured. Them in the roster, they obviously have their point guards, which consist of Drew Holiday. They have Derek White, which has been a monster recently for his team. We've had other, smaller guys off the bench like Peyton Pritchard, and you have some of their other guards, but they don't really utilize them as much. Maybe O'Shea Brissett a little bit. Then you have obviously the stars, Jalen Brown and Jayson Tatum, as the two guys on the team which get the stuff done. Those guys have been the most relied on throughout these series, as Jayson Tatum, 26, and Jalen Brown, 27, have both been entrusted with this franchise. And especially Jalen Brown, which is getting paid a wad of money, has especially a bigger amount of pressure on him to actually get it done this season. Then we have the center core, which is based upon, Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis with off the bench. You have a few guys in there like Luke Cornett or Sam Hauser, which also sub in. But really, what the story about the Celtics is more about how they operate and how they run themselves. They do not have a weak part in their lineup. And I'm saying that really. Both of their guards can guard. Both of their forwards can guard. Both of their centers can guard. Both of their guards can score. Both of their forwards can score. And both of their centers can score. The only problem with Boston is that they have a lack of cohesion, which is honestly very concerning. First, the Kristaps Porzingis, I don't think is going to be healthy for this series, and he's a key piece. As he has played very well this season. He scored a lot. He is one of the biggest difference makers, and especially as they have had a complete turnaround. And when it comes to Kristaps Porzingis, I don't think he's going to play, right? And that is concerning, obviously, for the Celtics, as he's one of your best players. But you kind of just have to deal with that, as with so many stars and so many injuries. You kind of just had to expect that to happen to somebody, especially in a team that plays with the intensity that the Celtics do. I feel like the Celtics this series are going to definitely have some fun with the matchups that they run and the way that they run their lineup. They definitely have a mismatch advantage, and these Celtics have a mentality difference as opposed to other teams, because they really want to win this finals, or that's at least what I would understand that they want. They're a team which their stars are no longer super young. Like, they both are already past 25, Jalen Brown and Jayson Tatum. And their secondary guys like Kristaps Porzingis, which is 28, and then you have Drew Holiday, which is 33. Al Horford is 38, and a guy like Derek White is 29. So it's like, when you're talking about this team, you're talking about a team that slowly but surely is creeping up to being one of the older teams, or one of the older starting fives in the league. I do believe that this Boston lineup has the chance to win. But what they have to do to win is more based on their stars and not as much on what they do. You see, in that Pacer series and in all their series, they've had close games and they've been good at closing out. The only problem now is that they're facing a team which is not as bad as the teams which they have faced. And I'm sorry about that, but if we're being 1,000% honest, they have sucked in terms of like the teams that they have faced have sucked, like really sucked. And I mean that in the nicest way possible, and I'm being serious about that. Because it's like they have, you know, guys like Jimmy Butler in the Heat series, which didn't play. Then you have in the Cavs series, Donovan Mitchell got injured, right? And I think that also Jared Allen got injured. Then in the Pacers series, Tyrese Halliburton got injured, and I'm pretty sure there was another guy injured too. So it's like you have all of these teams and all of these injuries. Your path to the finals has been easy as crap. And it's shown, like they haven't played more than 5 games in a series, and the only teams which took them to 5 games were the Heat and the Cavs. And not even the Pacers in the conference finals could really take them anywhere close. So I believe that Boston, in terms of mentality, they may be there and ready to win, but I don't know if they're going to consistently be able to keep themselves mentally there, as they've had such a easy road where in most of the games they haven't even had to fight a lot to be able to win. And the reason why I say that is because the Mavs have had the complete opposite. The Mavs teams which they face have been completely healthy, except for the Clippers, but the Clippers are never healthy. And honestly, Kawhi playing more than one game in the series was a lot. Then he faced the fully healthy, fully young Oklahoma City Thunder, also went to 6. Then he faced the Timberwolves, which were one of the toughest teams, and they smoked them. And in my opinion, in this finals, I just see Boston as very likely to maybe put themselves in a position where they don't want to be. And the reason why I say that is because Boston has a problem in coaching that is much greater than their problem in personnel. Their problem in personnel is just sometimes their stars don't step up. And that is the truth. But when you look at a team and when you look at a roster like the Celtics, I feel like their coach has been one of the players which has consistently been out, been hurt, or been hurting the team in the sense that he doesn't run very great matchups, he doesn't run very great schemes, and he normally is a coach which keeps themselves more in the three-point shooting new era type of play style as opposed to being a more traditionalist coach and utilizing matchups. I feel like Jayson Kidd is a much better coach than Joe Mazzulla. And that is also where I think a moment of silence or a moment of clarity for both of these teams should be mentioned, as even if Dallas, in terms of personnel, doesn't have as much as Boston, I do think that comparatively Joe Mazzulla is a coach which might not do exactly what you want him to do. Now, what do I think for both of these teams, and what do I think for Boston? I think Boston is very equipped for the finals. We kind of all knew that they were going to go to the finals, and now all that we have to do is just pray that they can have a good series between them. I do hope that the Celtics can actually have, all of their stars be there, because it would kind of suck if somebody got injured or if that would be the case. But in terms of Boston, I think that they're ready, they're prepared, and they're the favorites for a reason. This video is mostly just to look at the roster and see what's going on. But come on, it's Boston. we all know why they're favored. We all know what the roster looks like. I just hope that they have a good series.